This is Lindsay Ward, and I am here to show you Microsoft Lists, which is one of the apps available through Microsoft 365. I've been interested in exploring some of the different resources available to us through OIT and have experimented with a variety of the different tools that link through our Catmail accounts. So this top menu here may look familiar to you if you use Catmail. This top left button is sometimes called the waffle menu. And you can see that this is how you could link within Catmail to your Outlook email, to OneDrive if you use that for cloud storage, and then even to kind of more standard office related apps. Stream is where videos are recorded if you record something in Teams. What I'm experimenting with today is lists, and it really functions the way I used it, like other project management tools. So if you've ever used Trello or something like Smart Sheets, it offers some of that functionality for planning out the different steps of a project of any type. But I think you could use it for a number of different things. So I'm just kind of on the landing screen of Microsoft Lists, and I will show you the templates that it offers, which I think is really cool. So you could create one totally from scratch and organize it however you want. But then they have some common reasons to create lists, which I think is really cool, especially for the different reasons we or our colleagues may have for organizing information beyond a simple, say, calendar event or just written documentation about something that we hope to accomplish. So I could see this being really useful for project management, especially in our work area, that will be really common. I have a big interest in human resources, including staff training and staff development, and I've done a lot of work with onboarding. So I started from this employee onboarding template and then customized it to make it more what I thought would be useful. So that is the example that I am going to be showing you. And it does integrate with other Microsoft apps. So some of the options you'll see in the menus will even include things like automation or connecting with Power BI, which I think is cool. So you could go as kind of high tech and automated as you want, or make this kind of just a more visually appealing or easily accessible way to manage your information. So what I created is a basic overview of some steps that I think are valuable related to employee onboarding. This is not an all-inclusive list of everything that I would do as part of onboarding, but I thought was a nice snapshot of how you could use this tool to organize components of onboarding. And if that is a new term to you, that really refers to the time for a new employee from essentially kind of the recruitment and post-recruitment phase. So say when you get an offer for a position until your first day of work. And then depending on who you ask, onboarding can include all the way through the first year of employment when you are learning how to do your job, building relationships with coworkers, and seeing your contributions become established to the team. So onboarding is really important for helping folks feel like they belong, that they can contribute, and that they made a great decision to come work for you. So I'm interested in onboarding. I've done a lot of work in this, both for student employees at the university, specifically in Division of Student Affairs, and then also with staff in the unit that I previously worked in. So some features I want to point out on this tool for this example that I have. So I mentioned the automate, so you can see up here that that's a tool you could experiment with. You can export this data, you can share it with others, you can integrate it into Power BI and automate or even create an app. So there's a lot of options. You can have all kinds of like reminders and notifications within this, which is really cool. So the way that I've organized this is by this complete by tab. So you can imagine if you're onboarding a new staff member, the way I would think of it, at least for my organization here, is what needs to be done first and kind of what goes together. So before a staff member might join, like these are the things that I think are important. So extending an offer, sharing a schedule of what to expect. And you can see that there is the item. So like up here, extend the verbal offer for a position. And then there are details, an ideal timeline for when this should be completed. It lists that it's complete, what day it was completed, who was assigned to, that's me. And then you can also include a relevant link. So I've included a few different links to relevant policies or details on the human resources website. So in a real onboarding scenario, there would be multiple staff involved. For the purposes of this assignment, I have made it only me. So if you click on this too, you can see a lot more detail that you could add in here. So the description, and then these options are all things you can expand. So these are items that I've chosen to include or details I've chosen to include. You can have items have more than just that one date time period. So if you were doing a list for something else, if you had something that could be done in different phases, you could tag it multiple times. And then I really like, you can show that this list is intended to be collaborative or shared with others through this comment piece, which I really, really like. Because I've seen so many resources that are, say, like a PDF or Word document of onboarding information, which is great. It gives you the basics, but it's not dynamic. You can't let people know if something's working, not working, if something went differently than planned, or just if you want to say, hey, like this was really helpful, thank you so much, or I'm really excited they accepted the offer. That it's a great way to keep the conversation going and keep those records so you can update this as needed to make it continually useful for your purposes. So I really like that, the comment piece. And then the different organization components I think are really, really, really helpful. You can also set up notifications for different components, which I think are great. So if you want to get a notification like when something's completed, I could mark this and select the complete, that yes, it is completed, and this will generate an email notification to me as the list creator, which I think is great. So it's not just like, oh, I made this great list and I'm never going to go back to it and look. Like you're prompted to continue remaining engaged to it. You can also see up here, there's a lot of ability to customize. You could change all of these columns, what order they're in, where they fall, kind of in this different setting. You can also add columns with all of these different pieces. So I had, before this assignment, had not really heard of Microsoft Lists. I had previously used Microsoft Planner, which is integrated, or at least used to be integrated in Microsoft Teams. So I had used that for actually an onboarding related thing before. I think this offers a lot more visual features and seems a lot kind of more intuitive to use. And Microsoft also has To Do, which if you ever use the app Wunderlist, Microsoft I think acquired or is now managing. And that also is integrated sort of with Planner into Microsoft Teams. So I use that as a to-do list kind of in my daily job. So I think this would be really great for any kind of project where you would continually be doing similar things and wanted to have a standardized process, or it was a project where you're going to have a lot of folks involved, especially here at OU, since all of us have access to this kind of tool. It's a great way to do something collaborative together. So this is Microsoft Lists, and I hope that this was beneficial for you.